It's been a long day, but what a day. I will keep this very, very brief. So we began by looking at how family processes rather than family structure determine a child's well-being and outcomes in Susan's fascinating paper this morning. We see that children born through surrogacy arrangements fare just as well as children born into any other familial arrangement. And I'd like to thank Susan again for presenting the first longitudinal study of surrogate-born children in the world to us here at NUI Galway this morning. We then looked at how Ireland might learn from the problematic, but not entirely problematic, UK experience in Kirsty's detailed and fascinating paper on how the UK experience is operating and how the UK experience, I suppose, could not only benefit Ireland, but allow Ireland to get it right from the outset when legislating in respect of surrogacy. I myself presented a paper on the potential constitutional frailties associated with the post-birth parental order model of surrogacy and how Article 42A has to be at the forefront of any proposed surrogacy legislation here in Ireland. We then received a very insightful perspective from Deirdre Fottrell on the practical aspects of surrogacy in the UK courts. It's very interesting, in addition to the academic papers, to get a really fascinating insight into how all of this is operating in practice that I don't think we would have had without Deirdre's presence here today. Andrea Mulligan showed us the restraints that the European Convention on Human Rights might in fact place on the Irish legislature when legislating in respect of surrogacy, and we should be very cognizant of the European Convention on Human Rights given that it forms part of our domestic law. We then examined the frailties associated with certain international surrogacy regimes in Deirdre Madden's paper. Deirdre explored a number of international surrogacy regimes, questioned the best interest principle, which I think it is important to question and not just take at face value. And Deirdre presented some very valid policy recommendations, I felt, in her paper as well. John's paper then helped add, in addition to Susan's paper, another interdisciplinary flavour to the conference. John helped us to navigate what I may say are the choppy ethical waters surrounding commercial surrogacy. And then finally, I was very convinced by the case Haley put forward as to why Ireland should in fact buck the European trend and enforce surrogacy contracts. I would like to thank all of these speakers, all of my speakers, my chairs, Muriel and Connie. It's been a fantastic day. All of the papers complemented each other. I couldn't have picked a better array of speakers if I tried, and I did try very, very hard. So it's been wonderful. I'd just like to say I'm delighted to see quite a number of my first year family law class here today. Very, very devoted. Great to see our students taking such an interest. I'd like to thank Cormac for his technical assistance here today. I'd like to thank Haley for the administrative assistance, especially in the last week or so. Haley, you'll know it's been a tough one for us both. I'd like to thank all of you for attending, because I know many of you in the audience. We have practitioners here, we have students, we have fellow academics, we have, I'm very delighted to have, in fact, Dr. O'Sullivan from the Department of Health, a policymaker amongst us. So it's been a fantastic day. Just before I close, I would like to say that I hope we will move forward here in Ireland and start to forge this legal and policy framework for surrogacy, because 80 children have been born to Irish parents abroad via surrogacy arrangements since 2011. So we're not talking about an insignificant number of children here. And I think that a viable framework is possible. I'm more convinced than ever myself here today following the discussion. So I think it is very, very important that we move forward on this, and I hope that Ireland will learn from all of these various jurisdictions and, as much as is humanly possible, get it right first time. Just before I finish then, I'd like to thank my head of school, Professor O'Connell, for supporting the conference from the outset. From the moment I went to him with the idea, he supported the conference, and the School of Law supported the conference, and that is really, really wonderful. I'd also like to thank everyone who supported me on my journey in helping this conference come to fruition. They know who they are. One or two of them are here today as well. And finally, I'd just like to say for any of you on Monday morning while eating your cornflakes, if you'd like to tune into TV3 Ireland AM, you might see a familiar face from the NUIG School of Law there at 8:15. Okay, on that note, thank you all very much, and take home.